Hello, guys. Today is a very, very interesting guest on our show. So Eric Toz. So Eric is the founder of Shine On, and he provides solutions for e-commerce entrepreneurs to sell customized jewelry. Thousands of e-commerce entrepreneurs. Like one of the things, man, like in your on your Facebook, right? Like you're so transparent with your business. Like you have the camera, right? Like showing the factory where you facilitating the orders and stuff.
That's probably my most favorite thing I've done all year. I think Facebook marketers, drop shippers, I think we can get a little bit lonely, right? Because we're all at home working from our laptops. I think some people are kind of scared to maybe show the inside of their business. Afraid to show everything, but I'm taking a chance basically on being totally transparent and showing everything. So we'll see how it works out.
That's awesome. So how many merchants you currently work with?
Right now we have 2,000 active, and we have about 30,000 people that have either installed our app before or signed up for the shineon.com platform.
That's awesome. So in terms of the like how you started this business in the first place, how did you get to like the personalized jewelry?
It's actually a really long story. I'm in the process of writing it. It's already 50 pages long. But
so you're writing a book? Is that a book, like, or
not a book? I was just started writing this Shine On story, and you know, maybe it's like an ebook or a PDF. But I think it would be cool to share that with all of our sellers, because I think a lot of people think we're maybe this overnight success or it came out of nowhere. But you know, I've been working on this thing for I've been in entrepreneurship for 10 years and Shine On for about 4 years. And even the concept started before then. So what happened was I was the first employee at a startup in Boston called custommade.com. And that was basically a high-end Etsy. It's still around. Custommade, MADE.com. And basically this, you know, I was the first employee there. I found it on Craigslist, and I came in and I was like 22, and I had a lot of energy, not a lot of experience. And I don't know, I just loved the domain and I really gelled with the founders. Anyway, that started off as an advertising website where we would, artisans could advertise their stuff. And eventually we became like a two-sided marketplace where those makers, we call them, those makers could post their items, and then buyers could request something to get custom made, and they could interact and transact on that website. So very fortunate, you know, I saw a company go from like 0 people to 75 people. We ended up raising over $20 million in venture capital from like Google Ventures and a lot of big people. Pretty much all the best Silicon Valley investors were in custom made.
Wow.
So unfortunately,
what made it successful? Like though, like it's is it the concept, or like it was no competition at that point for them?
Back then it was a lot. I think the venture capital landscape was different. It was like 2012, 2013.
So they would just give money to like very like randomly. Yeah.
I think like not all the good ideas were taken yet. So like Uber was just getting funded, and Lyft and like Airbnb. So I think if you had a really different idea, I think it was probably easier to get funding then. But we had a big idea. We wanted to create the first marketplace to commission custom items. Unfortunately, the concept didn't work at scale. So, you know, we were at one point we had, like I said, 75 employees. We were burning $1 million a month, losing $1 million a month because we were encouraged to spend, like figure it out quickly. And what happened was we had this really long funnel, sales funnel. So a person would come in and they'd say, I want to make this custom engagement ring. And it would take on average 3 weeks for them between the posts and making the buying decision. So this is a lot different than somebody saying, oh, I like that, I'm going to add to cart. So because this funnel was so long, and we were only taking 10% of the transaction as a fee. We were running out of money really fast. And so kind of, I was there for 5 years. In the last year, 6 months, I was like, guys, we need to make a big change here. And I was like, I think we should manufacture everything. I think we should get rid of all of the makers. I was in charge of the makers, the artisans. So me and my team, we recruited 30,000 artisans to that site.
Oh, shit.
Mostly from Etsy.
Wow.
But then I was like, I think we should get rid of all of them. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, we need to make the process easier for people to transact. So we need to control this experience for the buyers. So I was like, let's get rid of all the makers. Let's be vertically integrated. Let's make everything ourselves. And then instead of 10%, we'll take 30%. So everyone was like, great, go do that. So I was like, all right, all right, cool, I'll figure it out. So like I had a friend in Thailand who makes all of David Yurman's jewelry, and he makes all of Saks Fifth Avenue's jewelry.
Wow.
So I started working with this one factory and learning more about jewelry production. This factory, I mean, the quality is amazing. Like some of the best quality in the world. So it wasn't like cheap stuff. It was very expensive gold and silver. He taught me a lot of everything about 3D modeling, from casting to mold making. And so anyway, I brought that to custom made, and we started to change everything, and we became
how did you you had an influence on those business decisions, right? Because that's like big decision, right? For the business. So you've been like, in a like high senior position in that company at that point?
Yeah. I mean, I was there for longer than just about anybody. And I was very young, but trusted my gut, and we made a lot of big decisions. You know, I was on the front lines with buyers and sellers, getting feedback. So, and I still do that practice today. I'm always on the front lines occasionally. But at that point, it didn't really matter because we were running out of cash. So anyway, we actually started to make that change a little bit late. And it was around this exact same time that Teespring started like exploding. So this was 2015 about. So, and then I was in Boston, Teespring was in Providence, Rhode Island. So that was only 1 hour away. So I just kept researching Teespring. I was like, what's going on with this website? How did it grow so fast? I didn't even know what Facebook marketers were at the time. I didn't know what affiliate marketing was. I just saw this website that had this cool concept of like crowdfunding a shirt. And I was like, I've got to figure it out. I'm going to figure out what they're doing. And I want to do that with jewelry. That was all I knew. Teespring for jewelry. So I actually ended up leaving custom made because there wasn't enough time to turn the ship around, but I still felt like I was onto something really big because we had some early traction with this new concept. So I ended up taking some people from my team at Custom Made and starting Shine On. At the time, it wasn't called Shine On. It was actually called Ring Around. And I initially started doing crowdfunding like rings for motorcycle clubs and groups, other sorts of groups of people. And I had a lot of early success with motorcycle clubs. And then I ended up recruiting a few people from Teespring. And then I ended up raising some small venture capital round for Ring Around, later became Shine On.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. And so initially you were based in like, we had first call, you were based in like New Jersey or New York?
I moved from Boston. And then when I started Shine On, I actually moved to Brooklyn. So I was literally like living on a couch in my friend's apartment in Brooklyn. I ran out of money at the beginning because I worked a deal with my bosses at Custom Made. They gave me some severance and I had unemployment money, but eventually that ran out. I was literally selling rings to survive.
Wow. Jeez.
This is before we raised the venture capital. And the first big break was that first Christmas, I started running ads through Facebook. I made this like a scooter ring. It was called a Vespa scooter ring. So it was like Vespa around your finger. And you actually, if you Google scooter ring, you can still find it. But I didn't target like Vespa. I targeted the individual models of the scooter. So I would target like VX 450, VX350 because I knew people owned these products. So I ended up selling like $30,000 that first Christmas of these scooter rings. And that's when I knew, wow, I think we can sell jewelry through Facebook, like through these different niches. And so it was that sort of traction that allowed me to go out and raise that venture capital.
That's interesting, man. That's very, very interesting. So what is, and then from there, like now you guys are selling like different niches, right? Like you're in like moms, I see nurses, like different types of niches, right?
Yeah, we have jewelry, I would say, in every niche. I've seen like fishing jewelry, hunting jewelry. Yeah, a lot of nurses, police, firefighter wife, pretty much like any niche that you sell t-shirts in, First Amendment, guns, like our sellers have found a way to transfer that over to jewelry.
And so what is a typical model? Let's say a seller wants to sell some of the jewelry, right? So they basically, you have the selection, like a catalog that people can, choose the items from, and they can just start selling them.
Yeah. So what we do is basically we identify the most viral products. We started in jewelry because that was my background, but we're starting to identify a lot of winning products in like leather goods and wood and stuff like that. So we have our own process that we use to find these winning products on Etsy or Amazon or wherever. And then what we do is we'll test that internally. We'll try to replicate the same success we've identified, but usually we can't replicate the success that we see of just the naked product itself. And so we learned a really big lesson in that people they're not like buying the jewelry product or they're not buying the leather wallet. They're actually buying the message. So it wasn't until we added the customization part of the POD part of the item that it really started selling. So when people started writing messages behind the piece of jewelry, that's when sales went from like 0 to, we just sold our 1 millionth unit in November.
Wow.
And now we're actually almost at 1.3 million units.
Wow. So it's like in 1 month, literally like 300,000 orders.
Yep.
Like, wow. So it's like now you seem to pass this like tipping points, right? Like you found that like product market fit.
Yeah, I think what we found is family. Like family and gifts is such a huge market because 95% of people, they have families. And there's so many of these occasions that they need a gift for. So Christmas, Mother's Day, but then there's like anniversaries, there's birthdays, there's Valentine's Day, like there's so many events within the family. And then if you just look at family, there's like 20 niches within the family. There's like dad to son, there's like mother to daughter, then there's dad to daughter, and then there's sister to sister or brother to brother. So what we do is we're trying to find gift items within the family niche because those are the biggest audiences on Facebook, basically family. So we're just trying to find products that you can scale to huge audiences. And I think we're probably the biggest jewelry retailers on Facebook or Shopify right now. If you add up like all of the stores through our app, but we're starting to explore other types of goods now, what I'm really excited about.
You mean the leather and the wood, those type of things, or like?
Yep.
That's interesting. And your customer experience is like you told me like the last conversation we had, like it can be shipped the same day or like somehow like very fast, right? The shipping times.
Yeah, I mean, actually on the last day of shipping, which was on Saturday, the 19th, we were shipping things next hour. So an item comes in and we ship it the next hour because it was like the last day.
Wow.
So we're really I'm really hardcore about like, I want everything to be the best for our sellers. Like I want to do all the hard work and finding them the best products with the best margins. I want the best quality and I want to ship it faster than anybody. So like everything I do is just that's just the goal. Just do everything the best you possibly can.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, your business went from like, I see you made several kind of like tweaks, right? And several like pivots to the initial products that you've been selling, right? And then like to now, like, do you feel like entrepreneurs, because not every business evolves like this, you know what I mean? Like you see the business was doing something 5 years ago, now it does exactly the same thing, you know? So what do you think makes you, you know, good at it? Like in that pivoting and adapting to the market?
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes, you know, like most people don't see those. I've almost lost the company twice, like running out of money twice. I think the most important thing is, like, for me, the vision's never changed, right? Like, even for the 4 years since I've been doing this now, I've had the exact same vision of building like a 9-figure company that helps digital marketers sell high margin jewelry and other personalized products. That's never changed. It's just like the products have changed, the pricing's changed, the app has changed. At one point, we shut down the platform, moved exclusively to a Shopify app, brought the platform back. I've had like different people in the business, like different partners and stuff, hired a lot of people, fired a lot of people. So throughout all of that stuff, there's just been a consistency and a hope that it's going to happen and it's going to be something big. And there was even one point where early on in the company, when I had to basically let everybody go because we ran out of cash. So I had to learn like accounting myself. And at that point, every investor we had was like, hey, you need to shut this down and you need to basically give us the remaining money back. And at that point, I think it's at those points that differentiate like a real entrepreneur from somebody who's just in it for cash flow or somebody who's just in it for like notoriety. It's at that point where you have to like really look inside yourself, and it's really scary, and you have to just basically overcome all of these outside distractions and feelings you have, and you have to go inside and say, no, like I'm doing this. Like, I don't even care what the outcome is. I'm fucking crazy. And I'm going to burn all the ships behind me. I'm going to land in the new land, and I'm going to burn the ship, and I'm going to say, fuck it. Now we're here. There's no other option. Like plan B is to make plan A work.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of people just do it for the perception, just in business to, you know, or like to fund their lifestyle. And not every business has this mission like you have. So like, when did you come up with that mission? Like, is that like was initially, or like, you know, how your thought process work? You know, for me, like to understand, you know, because if you understand the business owner, right, then you understand the business, and then you might even project, you know, moving forward. So where this mission like came from, you had some like inspirational figures, you had some like mentors, like you had some people that built like massive businesses. Like what was that kind of insight for you initially?
Well, the motivations changed for me over time. Like at the beginning, I had a very big chip on my shoulder. And I think a lot of people, they get into business and entrepreneurship because they're pissed off at the world, and they're pissed off at their ex or their relationship, and they just want to say, fuck all of them. I'm going to do this. You know, I don't care. I'm going to put everything into this, and I'm going to show everybody that I'm a badass. So I don't think that's a bad thing, like at the beginning, right? But if you hold that mentality forever, like you're just going to burn out and you're not going to be happy because you're always going to have that chip. So my motivation started to change from like, I want to show the world that I'm a badass and I want to make a lot of money and be secure, to like the more involved I got with the sellers and their lives and like wanting to help them, my motivation started to change to more like community and wanting to help people. And once I felt like I was kind of financially secure, like my motivation changed. I didn't care. You know, I really cared a lot about what people thought about me. I probably, of course, still care, but like now it's more about the community, protecting the community and growing the community.
You change the focus like just from yourself, from, you know, kind of like the bigger entity.
Yeah, I think you really have to check in with your intention and your motivation. Like that chip on your shoulder is, if you have that your whole life, I don't really feel like you're going to be happy. You have to sort of transcend that. You have to have a different motivation, which is less about ego. It's more about like service. I think this is why like people like Bill Gates, other badass entrepreneurs, Warren Buffett, of course, they're going to keep doing business the way they do it because it's easy for them. But I think a lot of them over time, they start shifting their motivation to like helping others. I see that with you too, you know, like your group.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Cool. When you had, you know, I'm always like trying to get into like, because I think a lot of the stuff that you do now, like it comes or it has some kind of like foundation, like in the childhood or like early like years. Have you had any of those like experience like that you think like shape you now, or like do you think like you just abandon all of that and you just recreate it yourself?
Definitely. I had a very, very difficult childhood. I think a lot of entrepreneurs do. That's what gives us the chip on our shoulder. So I think my childhood kind of screwed me up in a lot of ways, but it also gave me that motivation to figure out why I'm feeling these things, why I have this motivation. And so like, I'm almost grateful for the pain and the experience, because now my goal in life now is becoming like over time, just want to become fully self-aware. Like I want to master myself. I want to master my emotions. I want to help people. I just want to become as aware as possible about everything going on inside and in the world, just finding the truth with everything. So I'm grateful like that I went through all those hard things growing up. I don't really want to get into it too much, but I think sometimes genius skips a generation. My grandfather had a very successful manufacturing business. And then he had 4 kids. I think a lot of them got a little bit complacent. And so maybe I was the next generation, and I was kind of like, this isn't good enough. Like I want more in life. And so I think I kind of channeled my grandfather's experiences and wanted to kind of recreate what he did.
That's awesome. So in terms of your team currently, so I've seen you had like at one point like over 100 plus employees in that like huge facility that you guys have. So how do you structure your team? Like what decisions do you still make in business? What decisions have you like delegated? Like how do you currently structure that?
Yeah, so it's been it's been a very long learning process. At the beginning, I was the first employee and I did everything. And I still talk to people in the factory where I was like, hey, you know, I'm the CEO and we have like over, you know, close to 200 people now, but I tell them like, I was the first packing person. Like I was the first customer support agent. I was the first salesperson. I was the first website developer. I know it's hard, and I don't say that from ego. I'm like, I know it's difficult. Like I've done it before. I understand what you're saying, but you know, doing everything yourself is hard, and it becomes addictive. It's hard to let go of the micromanaging. So after it was just me, then I say we had basically a flat organization, meaning there wasn't like any really structural hierarchy. Tried to recruit people that I thought were had a lot of drive and motivation and were smart. And so there was probably like 5 or 6 of us doing lots of different things. And that lasted probably for 2 or 3 years. It's not until like the last year where we've really had the money to invest in a management team. And I've learned a lot about that. I've hired a lot of great people. I also made some mistakes hiring a management team, but I think I'm starting to learn what works now. And basically now with our management team, I kind of look at myself as like a coach, you know, like I want to help you win. I want to help those people find their zone of genius, right? Like I want to make sure they're only doing things that they're like world class at. And I don't want them to do anything that they're not. Early on, when you have multiple people doing lots of different roles, you're not going to just be focusing on your zone of genius. You're going to be focusing on lots of different things. And that's just the reality of it. Where the most relieving thing and the position I think you want to get yourself to and all of your management team is, we're only doing the things we're best at. So my job is sort of help people figure that out, coach them up on only doing that, and help them delegate all the crap that they're not world class at.
Zone of Genius, is that like from some book, or is that like what you come up with? Like,
no, it's it's from a book. It's from a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which is
we'll probably link it in the description or somewhere. Big Leap. So what other resources would you recommend for people who want to, maybe like at some level already like having traction, but want to, as you like building like a great team, like management team, what books or what resources help you the most? Obviously, on top of all of the mistakes that you've done anyway.
Of course. I think the most important book in my whole life was probably How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And basically it's a whole book on how to treat people, how to treat people well. Also like figuring out what most people's motivations are. And I think most of us are all the same. We're all looking to move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We're all looking for, first, we're looking for survival, then we're looking for love, then we're looking for like financial security, then we're looking for, friendship, and we're looking for a tribe. And then at the top is like, we're looking for self-actualization, like self-awareness. We're all like on this exact same mission. And so I think what How to Win Friends and Influence People walks you through is like just the tapping into those motivations. But like the book is so simple. It was written in the 1930s. So back then business wasn't complicated. Like you shook hands, you made a deal, you like looked that person in the eye. And if you didn't keep your word, you weren't going to be in business. You couldn't you couldn't be an affiliate and like hide behind your computer, or you had to do everything like the right way. And so the first chapter in the book is like, the most important word to somebody is their first name. Right? When they hear that first name, like lights their brain up. It's just really simple things like that.
So basic, right? And I read that book, but like now you're reminded, like, it's just so many like fundamental things I'm not doing, it's like, geez,
you read it?
That makes so much sense.
Did you read it?
Oh yeah. Long time ago. But I think those they're like few books that you probably have to like reread like every and you have to actually execute on them, right? Like every like few months or every year, right? Just because the fundamentals are so strong. Like those things are like, don't change with time. It's not like some tactic on Facebook or something, right?
Yeah, they'll never change. And I think these are the little things that people forget about. Like for me, it's also really important that, let's say we let somebody go from the company. I think it's really important in how you go into relationships and how you let go of relationships, and that you have to try to do it with class. And so, because it's karma. And plus you want to create an environment of positive vibes always. So like, even if when we let somebody go, it's like, hey, this was not a negative, this was a win. Like we did a lot of great work. Let's, this isn't a loss at all. This is actually a success. It's just that now the times have changed and we need to make a change. And as long as people, like while people are in the company, I want to make sure that it's like one of the most useful things in their life. Either they learn a new skill, or they learn how to become an entrepreneur, or they just have a lot of fun. Like I want to make sure while they're here that we really take advantage of that time, because nothing is permanent. I even tell people in the company, like at one point, I'm not even going to be part of this company. I'm only here temporarily. We're all here temporarily. So while we're here, let's just try to have the most ease and flow, find our zone of genius, like have the most fun, all this good stuff.
That's awesome. So foundational, like some of the things, we treat people well. It's just like, it's good to be reminded of this, right? Like this stuff. How did you find your like core, like team members, like the management team? Was it through LinkedIn or through like recruiters or through like personal like relationships or referrals?
I think I would say the first like 3 or 4 key employees, like non-developers. The non-developers, basically I taught them everything. Like I taught them Facebook, Shopify, And one of our best employees, Ian Shinon, he's really well known in our Facebook group, and I admire his opinion more than just about anybody. I found him we met at a bar. He was a random kid that bought me a shot of Jameson.
Oh, really?
And he was 21, and we just started talking, and he was like a local marketing student at a local college in New Jersey. And he started talking about ClickFunnels. And I was like, how do you know about ClickFunnels? Like, we're way out here at this random bar. And so a lot of it is just sort of taking a chance on people and saying like, I'm going to turn this person into like a fucking badass. And I think at the beginning, you have to do that for your people. And some of those people work, some don't. So I trained up a few really good people. And then over time, that's when I started bringing in people that had alternate experiences to mine. So I brought in somebody from Dollar Tree. She was like a lead buyer for Dollar Tree. So she would buy, $10 million worth of toys or bags of rice and negotiate. So she brought her vendor negotiation system into my world that I already had around Shopify, community building, jewelry. So I brought her system in. And then I brought in systems from like other people. I brought in a guy who was a project manager at Sprint. And so I brought that experience in. So at the beginning, I think it's your experience that you have to train other people, because you can't afford really expensive people. You have to sacrifice and put in all the effort into getting them up to a certain level. But then over time, when you have a little bit more money and freedom, then you start wanting to bring in other systems and add to it.
Cool. And so do you keep your the team members in house, or they're like remotely? Like, how do you structure that?
So right now, we used to be a lot remote, but every few months we try to hire more locally. Obviously it's more expensive, but it's probably higher ROI, I think, to hire someone locally, because there's so much that happens through body language. There's so much that happens through people being next to the product. I think one of the most important things that a person could do is working with a developer locally, because this is like, if you're building an app or software or something like that, if that developer doesn't understand the business as well as you do, there's going to be a disconnect there. And they're going to start building something that's, while they may understand the business, like they're not thinking far ahead enough to write the code to make it adaptable later. They might actually obstruct you by writing code a certain way early on. So I think it's like, I was blessed to find a CTO, a development partner here locally in the States. And we go out, our families know each other. We go out to dinner. We're on the same page, technology wise and then marketing wise. So while we work with outsourced developers now, some of them, we still have 6 locally here that they're all really expensive, but great people. And then we have probably 6 more that are outsourced. But it's really important, I feel, to at least have one person technology wise that fully understands who you are and your motivations in the business.
That's awesome. So you relocated your team from like New York, or you hired them because you live in Florida now, right?
Yeah. So I started moving the company. Well, Dan, our CTO, he first moved down to Florida like 3 years ago for personal reasons. So I started visiting him here, and I was like, man, this place is amazing. It's it was like St. Petersburg next to Tampa. It's kind of has a little Brooklyn vibe, maybe like a kind of like Wynwood in Miami. And but it wasn't stressful. It gave me space to think, and I was like, I think this could be so good for our business, especially building fulfillment, because when you're in a major city like New York or probably even Miami, a lot of people, they just want to move on to the next best thing. So here, I think people are really loyal. They're really happy that there's like a tech startup near them that they can join, because people just want to feel part of something. It's not even money that after after they're hired, it's not about money. It's just about feeling part of something bigger than themselves, like a church. It's just like having that feeling of community and a larger, greater good.
I love talking with you, man.
Same,
So,
brother.
what would be like the three kind of like main pieces of advice that you would give entrepreneurs that are like, might be starting the business or might already have a business, but business, let's say at some level, and it's not growing as fast as they want? What advice would you give them?
Well, I think the first one is it's good to have a little bit of money, capital at the beginning. If you don't have profit from a former business, or you don't have profit from Facebook ads or Shopify before, you're going to have to get a little bit of money to give you time to figure it out. One piece of advice would be start with your friends and family. No investor is going to give you money if you can't get money first from your friends and family. That's the first question they're going to ask. Did your friends and family give you money? Oh, no. Then why would I give you money? They don't trust you. So why would I trust you? So I think it's smart to go to friends and family and say, I have this idea. I need $5,000 only to get from point A to point B. And then it just becomes a game of traction. I remember early on when we started to get a little traction we started working with our first Facebook marketers. It got to a point where I was like, we have to keep the story going. We have to keep the traction going. So first one would be try to get your friends and family to believe in your vision. Number two would be when you have a little bit of traction, put everything you can in making sure that traction continues, because now you have a story to tell. Maybe an investor says, I like your idea, but I need to see more traction. So then you say, okay. So you go back, you get more traction, you come back to them and say, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So if you have even the smallest bit of traction, attack it as hard as you possibly can. And it's like same thing with ads too. Like it's kind of the same thought process. Gonna attack it. So that's number two. And I would say number three is just like you're just in a battle with yourself in entrepreneurship. You're not battling other people. You might think you're competing against them, but you're not, because you're going to go through a whole range of emotions. You're going to feel it's either going to be the best day of your life every day, or it's going to be the worst day.
Yeah, I call this so especially, with advertisers on Facebook, I call this ad depression. So it's like, when ads perform like shit, like you feel like shit. And when ads perform well, like now this like high, this, then
Oh my God. It's every day. It's like best day or the worst day. So you just have to smile and say, this is just how it is. So you have to, because you're in this battle with yourself, I treat my body like a machine, because I need to perform. So, I have like an hour-long morning routine. I invest so much in my health. I invest so much actually in like brain health, because I think if there's one thing you could do to increase your business, it's to increase your brain health. If your brain is like 10% more efficient.
What do you do, like nootropics?
Yeah, I do fasting. I do nootropics. I take a product called Alpha Brain from Onnit, which is.
Is it good? I
love Alpha Brain. I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking yerba mate, which is like this tea from Argentina. There's zero crash with it. So I'm like, you really have to be almost obsessed with brain performance, because everything comes from your brain. Your whole business, your life, your whole relationship, all your relationships, this comes from your brain. So if you have anxiety, you need to meditate and take care of that. If all of this stuff, you need to clean it up. So brain health would be number 3.
That's such a good point. So Alpha Brain, you're taking yerba. You do drink coffee?
Nope. I drink pu'er tea, which is an aged tea. It's kind of like a fermented tea. It's like a fine wine. Really good for you. Really healthy. And then I drink yerba mate from Brazil and Argentina. That's what I'm drinking right now. So I have this little mate gourd with me.
That's awesome, man. Wow. So when did you start to be like so like aware about the the brain and like increasing the capacity of it. Like obviously when you're trying to probably like when you're trying to get your like business, you know, the momentum, like you don't have time for that, right? Like you have other like priorities that you have to take care, or would you, like, if you were to do it like all over again, would you still dedicate the time to like
well, early on, like when I was in survival mode, like the first year of Shine On, and had no money and I was living in Brooklyn, I was actually getting really addicted to, like, I was addicted to coffee. I was addicted to Adderall. I was going out drinking every night. And it got to a point where I was like, this is not, I'm going to kill myself before the business even gets off the ground.
wow.
So I call it, I went into monk mode and I did nothing for 90 days. So I did no caffeine, no Adderall, no alcohol, no sugar, no dairy, no hot showers. I only took cold showers.
Wow.
No porn, no masturbation, no loud music. Like I stopped listening to like dubstep and EDM because that actually sets off dopamine too. So I had
EDM music,
or like hard rock music, like scream hard rock music that sets off dopamine in your brain too. So it got to a point where I was like, I need to cut all dopamine out, and it sucked for a bit. But then I became so free and no anxiety. And I was like, now I have a homeostasis where, like, I don't want to put more stress on my body than I have to, because the business is already stressful. So I need to become as de-stressed as I possibly can. So that's why I kind of went crazy with stopping everything for a while. I do some of the.
How was your business at that point of time when you kind of like switched into that like monk mode? Did it get traction, or like you see no correlation between the business and?
Yeah, definitely. Like the first year when I was addicted to all these substances, that was when I first sold that scooter ring on Facebook and had a lot of good success. But, something within me just said, dude, this is not sustainable. So after I went monk mode, I actually recruited 2 people from Teespring. Like I raised $1 million in venture capital for Shine On. And there's no way I would have been able to do that if I didn't take getting control of myself.
So you raised that capital, you had this like initial like boost to your business during that like monk mode?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think people should try out, like, they should try out things like this. I think people go through life with never trying anything. Like, all right, this month I'm going to go vegan. This month I'm going to do CrossFit. Like this month I'm going to take only cold showers. Like people go through life never trying out like all these new things. You need to learn about yourself quickly. It's just feedback, getting instantaneous feedback.
It's like those like how it's called, you know, the rats, like, you know, that are just like running, and that like that's how most people live.
You're gonna think, I think if you change things in your habits in your personal life, you're gonna have more confidence in making changes in your business too. Like it's gonna be the same thing, you know. Like this is business for me. It kind of feels like almost easy now because I've gone through so much personal shit. I've overcome all these addictions and trauma, childhood traumas and all of that stuff. And now I have like an operating system. Now I can make better decisions because I have less anxiety. Like treating your body like a machine and having less anxiety. Even if you make like 51% of decisions good, like if you make 51% good and 49 bad, that's great. I mean, if you're just starting to make more good decisions than bad decisions, like over time, if you could start making 80% the right decisions, 85%, 90%, over time, you'll get better and better about making all these good decisions. And it really starts with taking care of yourself.
This is so good advice. And I see, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs, they might do like well financially, right? But they're like overweight, or they have, you know, their skin doesn't look good, or, you know, that because that reflects, you know, the internal states, and or they eat garbage.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, like this is so good. Thanks for joining me today. I know you're a busy man. You probably have stuff to do. How do people find you? I'll link to the Shine On, like to, you know, to the platforms that you guys are operating. So if people are interested to join that as a seller, to, that's very like viable option, for people who, let's say, want to like start a business, or even like add maybe like some products to, they already have the traction, maybe add some products to their existing business, because the experience that you guys are offering is very good, fast shipping and good quality products.
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, this is the most important thing for me in my day, connecting with you, connecting with your community. I really enjoy it.
Thank you, man.
So thank you for having me. I think we're going to create a special offer for just your people.
Okay.
So that they'll automatically get when they join through your link.
Okay.
So we'll put that, we'll give you that link. And yeah, it's been an honor. Like any of your people, anything you want to talk about, like in regards to selling personalized products, we'll truly try to help them as much as possible.
Yeah, and I'll link to also to your community, right? So people from Facebook ads, Rockstars, and other other communities can check out your community and join if they want to. So man, this was so good, especially this like mindset, brain stuff. Geez, like I do part of that, but I gained like several very, very good insights here. So I also take like new topics. I have a bunch in here. So they're just part of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because my trainer, my trainer recommended me, and I take them, and it's good. I have, like he said, this like super, it's so good. The Aniresatam.
Send me the link for that.
Yeah. Aniresatam and Alpha GBC.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of those ones. I need to research.
Yeah. I'll send it there. These are, thank you for jumping. This call. It was very good, very insightful, and have the link so people can connect with your community, can join it, and can join Shine On. And the way I see entrepreneurs, like the way you are like relaxed and like focused, these are the most dangerous like competitors you would have. So
I would agree, man. I would agree. They're like the quiet. We have to be careful in the quiet ones,
Exactly. So not those people like, but like, oh wow, this guy's like dangerous. So because he's so focused, man. So I wish you the tremendous growth. I mean, I'm pretty sure it will happen. Next year, like you will gain like many like millions of orders. And thank you for joining me today, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. And for everyone who spent time watching, I appreciate it too.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Have a good day. And guys, thank you everyone for watching, and see you around. All right. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you can just like this video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. Thank you.